About freaking time. SI Security?
Yeah, name's Jensen.
I know. You used to be on Team 2 till that Mexican town thing went down. I guess the more things change, the more they stay the same, don't they?
Meaning what?
Meaning corpses seem to follow you around. Feel like getting in there and doing whatever it is your boss wants you to do? Because maybe then we can get your people some justice.
I got it from here.
Like we got a choice.
So this is a manufacturing plant. It's the first mission that Adam Jensen goes through after getting fully augmented.
Yeah, once he's RoboCop.
When he's RoboCop now, he's ready to use his new tools. The thing is that the first final version of the map that we got, actually, to just put people in the context, it was supposed to be those terrorists taking over this facility.
Purity First
guys trying to find evidences that Sarif Industries was going through unethical work and stuff.
Imagine it's like as if Greenpeace takes over like a whaling ship or something like that. Or
But the first kind of semi-final version of the map, we started it and you wouldn't see anything. Everything was pretty. Yeah. Everything was super clean. Nothing going on.
And not only that, it was clean in terms of like you didn't get the feeling that there was no siege, but also the indications that it was besieged by Purity First also was not there.
There was nothing.
There was nothing at all.
And it was just the story telling you this is happening. But as you were walking in the game, you didn't feel it. So we had to go through several iterations.
Go in and point out that we need things here, guys, like graffiti and break-in signs and all that.
And the banners. And I know you've always thought that the banners look way too like professionally done for an organization like Purity First.
For a terrorist organization, how they got the money for silk screening huge banners was always curious.
Well, I've done silk screening at home myself, so I guess you would need a really big silk screen to make those banners, though. But yeah. No, it's true. It's true.
Jensen, it's me, Pritchard. Where are you?
On a roof overlooking the plant.
Good. Your point of entry should be through shipping and receiving.
Should be, Francis. What the hell does that mean?
We have an employee entrance there, heavily guarded by purists, no doubt. So, if you're not a fan of the frontal assault, I suppose you could try accessing the building's roof.
Yeah, this map actually it symbolizes the revival of Detroit in some way. In some ways, when we look back at the Detroit in the 20th century, it was one of the big cities for the car industry and everything. And in this manufacturing plant, actually, it's an old car factory that has been repurposed for Sarif Industries' needs and stuff. And for us, it was kind of using this kind of metaphor to say that reusing the old power of America of the 20th century and put it in the 21st century, but into the new field of technology that makes the city strong again. And as we were brainstorming for the different cities in the game, like Detroit, and we were wondering like why Detroit and why we would go.
I was one of those. I was like, why the hell would we go to Detroit? But then it ended up making a lot of sense.
It made a lot of sense because when you think about it in the history of America, it was like the Ford basically revolutionized the way that cars are made.
Probably
in Detroit,
even part of the economy itself.
By introducing the new factories and the new technologies and stuff. So why not, when the industry fades, would someone else with a new technology come over and take it over and take over those old plants and basically recycle?
Yeah, we're actually saying that Sarif did it on purpose, right? That he chose to refurbish, we say, right? Refurbish these factories as a symbolic move, right? It was purposeful on his part. I think it was a really good idea.
And last week I was we're in November as we were recording it. Last week I was reading in the
November
newspaper.
2012. Yeah.
Yes. A newspaper story about Detroit that was being revitalized through different new companies, and the downtown it's becoming more and more interesting. It has nothing to do with biotech corporations,
but it's still the same
it's coming
idea.
back. Yeah, exactly.
Pritchard, I'm in.
Nicely done, Jensen. May I ask how?
A vent on the roof. It'll be in my report next time we discuss security loopholes.
Oh, goody. I'll be sure to take notes. The Typhoon is in the factoring labs. There's an elevator just past the assembly labs that will take you to it.
Got it.
I think it came from around here. I think it came from around here.
So now we're entering into the hangar shipping zone of the manufacturing plant, and now we can have a look at the Purity First terrorists. Actually, when they were born, when they were designed, they were looking more like medieval knights, and then we kind of felt that it was not totally in line with what a group of terrorists would
Right.
be, like, especially against augmentations, against everything. And in terms of the visual storytelling of them, it was kind of not doing exactly what we wanted.
Right. Well, I think the original designs, right, Joe, came out of the idea of the Cyber Renaissance and the Templars and who represented what.
Yeah, they were. Well, the idea was that we had, we had two contrasts, right? The augmented people, the transhumanist side was with the Cyber Renaissance, and the people that were against it was kind of like the Dark Ages before the Renaissance. It was more like feudal, it was more medieval, and we said, well, the way that I saw it was that these guys were against augmentation, so they weren't augmented, and they had to fight against people that were a lot stronger, a lot faster and everything than them because they were augmented. So my idea was that to make them super armored, crazy ass big weapons, because they needed to, with military hardware technology, compensate for that. And my early designs were like these, like, really basically walking tanks. And then Jeff comes up to me one day and he's like, well, these are like grassroots terrorists and whatnot, and he's like, this would make no sense. And this is one of the few times where me and Jeff kind of like headbutted, because I really like that, because we usually always on the same page. I was like, nah man, these designs are way too fucking awesome, But then it actually made sense, the grassroots and everything, so we made them look like like cheap bastards, basically.
And that's how they are born.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that?
Well, the room full of lockers.
Yes.
It reminds me of the
I hate
good
that
80s
room.
and 90s.
Yeah.
I can't get through that room without having to open every single locker that exists
It's
in that
crazy.
room.
Well, me, I'm like you, but not for the same reason. It's actually like I hate it. I don't want to do it, but I still do it because I want to get the goodies that are inside, and I can't never remember which ones they are. But if I knew, I would just go straight to those ones because there's probably almost 100 lockers in that room.
I don't know. I
For
never
real.
count them, but
There's at least 60.
but it feels like it's a slot machine, huh? You have to
Yes.
put another quarter. You have to put, and you always hope that you're going to
No.
win some.
Feels like a pain in the butt.
But me, every time I go in this room, I'm like, fuck, I have to open them all.
Yes.
But it was
Exactly.
on purpose. It was kind of a joke, and it was kind of an homage to like all of those old school games where we didn't really care, or we didn't really think if we were putting the players through something that was too cumbersome or too overwhelming.
Right.
So there's just one room like that in the game. I guess it's all
I
good.
think it's the level designer. I don't remember exactly, but I think one day he just made that room, and when I saw this, I started to laugh, and it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, yes,
Of
we
course
have
it's
to
going
do
in.
it.
There's just so many. I mean, even in real life, like either I don't know, at a gym or you go to the pool or whatever. I don't think I've ever seen that many lockers in a changing room or whatever. It's just insane.
So here we're in front of the first conspiracy radio that is spread out through the entire game, and I can't remember how the idea came about, and Steve is going to talk about it. But me, I just remember Steve coming to me really excited about this idea and really wanted to push it in the game.
Yeah, well, when I get something in my hat, I'm usually pretty passionate about it. We were doing weekly reviews in one of our review rooms, and we were playing it. And what was really starting to bother me was that we needed to be pushing the conspiracy side of the game. It was very important. And at that time, we were using a lot of the NPCs and the city hubs that you would talk to, and it always felt kind of strange and a bit awkward to me that you would go up to a random person on the street and hit, the talk button, and you would get some kind of line like, isn't it strange that Tai Young Medical seems to be shipping supplies to Panchaea? And you're like, who says that on a random street when you go up and talk to somebody?
Yes, it was very difficult. to
And it was
handle
very
that.
tough for the writers as well, because, you're trying to make it sound natural, but yet... So anyway, I had this idea, and I mean, it's not an original idea, it's been done in other games, but we tried to put our own spin on it. We said, why don't we create a radio DJ his sole purpose in the game will be to push the conspiracy. And my inspiration was actually from the movie Eight-Legged Freaks, where they have the conspiracy DJ who lives in his little camper trailer out in the middle of nowhere. And I thought, this is awesome, because it'll cost us a radio for an object that can just be dumped anywhere in the map, and then we just go in the studio and record these long monologues, which the writers did have to write, but they did an amazing job on the writing. They studied Alex Jones and all kinds of conspiracy stuff, and I have to give Mary the credit for, I remember when we were talking about who we were going to cast, and she looks at me and she goes, well, what about Harry Sanjovsky, who was this amazing actor that we loved him so much and we wanted to try and fit him into the game somewhere, but every time we kind of cast him as a part, just by chance that part would kind of get scaled
Cut.
down or cut, and we would be left with this great actor that we couldn't put anywhere. So she gets the credit for the casting on that one, saying, "What about him?" And my eyes just lit up, and we didn't even cast. We just said, "That's it.
Let's
it's
get
him."
him in there and do it.
And he
And
did.
he was amazing.
What an amazing job he
I
did.
think
so
he did most of them in one take.
yeah, he was just he just nailed it. He
And
really.
it's
was-
Andrew who wrote also the
Yes,
text, right?
Andrew, one of our freelance writers, wrote all.
Yeah, who's also doing very well right now is
Yes.
Anakin,
Anakin
Slade.
Anakin
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So Anakin Slade, the hip hop artist, worked on this game, and he wrote almost, I think, all the pirate radio
Yeah,
DJ
all the
stuff.
pirate and most of the overheard conversations.
And I was just really happy. Again, it shows, credit to JF's game director skills, that he was open to the idea and he let me
Jensen, I just tried to unlock the assembly lab door, but my override codes aren't working. Someone's changed the protocols.
What? Didn't you plug the...
I'm on it. But until I find this particular breach and fix it, you'll have to hack the door manually. Pritchard out.
So here we come next to the first hacking minigame of the game, actually. The story of a hacking, well, it was the first gameplay that we really nailed down. I remember when we were with the designers and trying to figure out what were our high-level intentions with this thing. It was that we wanted to stay in the real world, so we didn't want a minigame that pulls you out of the game world and you're just into another realm or whatsoever. We really wanted players, when they get invested in that, they would have also to manage their surroundings, because they can be guards, they can be anything happening and everything. So that was the high-level intention. But if we go back to the hacking itself, François Lapica, our lead game designer, was really thinking about different inspiration for that with pen and paper table games and stuff, cyberpunk ones. And he really wanted to go into this thing of going with cycles of CPUs that you put them into.
It was amazing.
It was great. Like
I loved it.
He built it on an Excel sheet, and you had all those parameters to manage,
Yeah,
and it
I
was
liked
really,
it.
you felt that you were really hacking.
It was
But-
a geek's dream, really.
Absolutely. But the thing is that it was hard to really grasp it and see how visually it would work and everything.
But the tension was there. That's what I remember the most, is that it was really, really like tense, and you kind of felt like pressed by what you were doing and the danger of it. You know?
It was working, but still we were struggling with the visual aspect of it. We tried to be as mass market as possible and make it accessible. And actually, it's one of our artists one morning that came in, and he came with a drawing that was just like with icons and everything, and it was a portraying of how it could look on screen. And when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, I think we got it. And Frank looked at
not
it.
happy.
Frank was not really happy, because his pride was like, oh, I can't make it work kind of thing and everything. But he recognized that it was really the idea that makes the hacking work. And it took him 2 weeks to take that drawing and readapt his design to fit with that kind of philosophy. And then we went with the programmers after that, just implement it and iterate it with a lot of internal playtests and everything. And that's the first part of the game that was completed a long time ago.
Access granted.